Hello YouTube, it's Rom from Ramen Noodles TCG, and today I have a first place locals Memento deck profile for you. So, I've been playing Memento a fair bit recently. In my Malice video, I talked about the fact that I was taking a break from Memento, and I missed the deck a lot. I've been playing mostly Dracotail in the TCG, but Dracotail is a very, chill, sort of strategic control deck where you just kind of vibe and throw hand traps at your opponent and just grind them out. But, you know me, I have no chill. So, Memento is my kind of deck, a balls to the wall combo deck that sets up a big old board. I just wanted to let everybody know that I am a seller on TCG Player. If you want to get some cards and support the channel, check out the link in the description. So, starting off with the Memento monsters, for the normal summons, we have 3 copies of Anguish, 2 copies of Dark Blade, and 2 Goblin. So yeah, these are the Memento normal summons. Anguish is the Searcher. We're playing 2 Dark Blade instead of 3 or 1. So Dark Blade has a decent bit of utility still, especially in the Dracotail matchup. Being able to Dark Blade pop a Dracotail Flame is quite strong because Flame is very powerful against this deck. So yeah, being able to pop Flame is pretty good. Anguish just being a Searcher on summon means that it is less susceptible to targeted interaction because you can dodge it with your extenders. So yeah, we're still playing the 3/2/2. Goblin is obviously still very important card, very valuable normal summon. It's like the tertiary normal summon, but it gets the job done because it is able to dump your 2 mementos. Speaking of dumping mementos, we are playing 3 Tatsu, obviously, just to dump some mementos. Speaking of dumping mementos, we are playing the 1 Gaddock and the 1 Sleepy. So obviously this is what you dump off of Tatsu, and we're Goblin in dire situations. So the thing about Sleepy in this format is I really, really want to play a second Sleepy because of the rise of Ghost Bell. Memento actually does have a bit of a bell issue where you can play through a lot of different hand traps, but a well-timed bell can really hurt your end board. So yeah, bell hurts a lot. Also Crow. So I've been noticing that Crow has slowly been encroaching on the metagame in terms of side decks, especially for Dracotail. Dracotail plays Crow as a way to counter Pyramid Tsurugi and Canine variants. So Crow is actually a massive problem for Memento. So playing a second Sleepy would help you alleviate some of these issues because obviously all of your lines, all of your Tatsu lines involve dumping a Sleepy. So if you are getting stopped on the Sleepy in the graveyard, for example, if it gets caught in your graveyard because you get belled or something on Gaddock or something, you are able to search a second one and keep playing that way. But I just couldn't find space. If you really, really want to, you can play a second Sleepy, but I'm still sticking with the 1. For the Memento 1-ofs, playing Mace, Combined Creation, Akihiran, and Horn Dragon. Just the crew. Mace technically does a combo. It's not a great combo, but it does do a 1-card combo. It's like CC Pass or something. Yeah, Mace is not a great normal summon, which is why we only play the 1, obviously. I think I've been getting better at utilizing Mace. I remember to shuffle it back earlier in the combo so I can add it back off of Twin Dragon a lot more. Generally, I've just been getting a bit better with this deck, I think. My skills as a duelist have been improving. Yeah. So Horn Dragon is technically optional, but the way I built this deck, there are a number of extra deck packages, well, just the 1 really, that I like having the Horn Dragon for, so I can link climb. And Horn Dragon is just good for extension and stuff. You haven't truly lived until you've been able to Tatsunuto Shigo pop Horn Dragon and send like 4 monsters from your deck to the graveyard. It's insane. So yeah, those are the Memento monsters. Pretty standard stuff so far. Moving on to the extenders, I am playing, obviously, the 3 copies of Memento Fusion, the 3 copies of Memento Bone Party, the 1 Memento Mictlan, and I am playing 2 Goblin Biker Grand Breakout and the 1 for 1. So this is pretty standard stuff. Obviously, these are some of the most broken extenders in the game. Bone Party and Fusion just kind of make the deck run. Yeah, you go through these every game, and just like, you know, every turn, you want to be able to reset them with Mictlan, who resets your stuff. Yeah, just like good stuff here. The thing about Breakout is that Grand Breakout is good at playing through interruption, but it doesn't actually increase your ceiling all that much. And I found it kind of cloggy at 3, so I decided to play 1 for 1 instead of the 3rd Breakout. You'll see with my non-engine choices that I'm a little more monster dense than maybe I otherwise would be, so I have more stuff to discard. So yeah, speaking of non-engine, I am playing 6 hand traps in the main deck. I am playing 3 copies of Molcharmy Perulia and 3 copies of Molcharmy Fuelos. These are the only hand traps I have space for. I am very much all in on board breakers, but obviously I need to be able to find some board breakers, so that's what the Molcharmies are here for. You can discard them with 1 for 1 going first, and surprisingly, something like a Perulia or a Fuelos is not actually that bad going first. Like, you can fire them, and sometimes they come up. Like, if your opponent 5-manas you, you get a draw off of the Fua. If your opponent hits you with, like, an Izuna, you get a Perulia draw, that kind of stuff. So these actually aren't the worst going first. The reason I'm playing Perulia over Meowls in the main deck is because Meowls is like giga dead against Dracotail. Like, Dracotail will actually give you 0 draws under Meowls, whereas under Perulia, Dracotail will give you at least 1 draw. I like that flexibility. Those are the only hand traps I'm playing main. You know, it's Memento. We gotta go all gas, no brakes, because that's how you build this deck. If you try to play hand traps, you're gonna clog on them. You're gonna open like 3 hand traps and extenders, and you're gonna cry. You know, that's Memento. So, speaking of breakers, I am playing 3 copies of Forbidden Droplets, 3 copies of Super Polymerization, the 1 Triple Tactics Talents, and the 1 Called By. So I feel kind of justified calling Called By a breaker in a Dracotail heavy format. Being able to Called By 5 mana goes really, really hard. Like, this can kind of just win you the game sometimes. And, you know, it beats hand traps and stuff. Talent and Called By are both a lot better going first, but they're still very good going second. Super Poly and Droplet are kind of crazy this format. So in Memento specifically, I think Droplet is a lot better than something like Dark Ruler, because we can dodge targeted interaction, and also targeted interaction not only on the monsters but on the spells as well. Dodging something like a Dracotail Flame using Droplet is kind of crazy. So Super Poly is another strong breaker this format. It hits pretty much everything. The reason you need all these breakers is because the way the Yummy end board looks is they have Herald of the Arclights, and that prevents you from sending monsters from your hand or deck to the graveyard, which in Memento you kind of have to do that to play the game. So we need these to break the Herald. For the last card I'm playing is just Pot of Prosperity. This is the 41st card in my main deck. I wasn't playing this at the regionals, and I missed it a lot. Memento does have consistency issues, so Prosperity helps fix that a lot. I've been seeing people, you know, getting drolled and stuff, and like sweating bullets because of droll. So I kind of fell for the droll hype train trap and cut Prosperity erroneously, and I have missed it a lot. So Memento actually does get hurt by Droll a fair bit. You do make a board under Droll, but the board under Droll is like SP, CC, pass. Unless you draw a bunch of extenders that you can use and then like reset. So you have to hard draw the extenders, which is why a lot of Memento players are cutting Prosp, because it plays into Droll. But with these breakers, you actually have a really cool interaction here. So Droll and Lockbird is a quick effect. Despite how it behaves, a lot of people think that Droll is a trigger, but it's actually a quick effect. So after you resolve something like Pot of Prosperity, you are the turn player, so you have the first action to activate a quick effect. So if you activate something like Super Polymerization, or you go Droplet, discard a monster, your opponent just can't Droll you there. So yeah, that's a nice way to play around Droll in going second scenarios. Yeah, so that is it for the 41 card main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, I am playing, obviously for the Memento fusions, I am playing Twin Dragon, 2 Creation King, and then Honorary Memento Fusion, Draco Stapelia. These are pretty standard ratios at this point. Because I'm playing Super Poly, I had to cut some of the more utility-focused Memento fusion monsters. Like, I'm not playing Guardian Chimera, I'm not playing Baphomet. I actually didn't miss those at all. Not having Baphomet makes, you can make a less, your board is a little less layered, because you can't do the Baphomet Revive Creation King thing. But it does streamline the combos a little bit, knowing you kind of always have to send King off of King. But other than just making things simpler, I mean, you don't really need it. I've built this extra with higher ceiling boards in mind, so although it's less layered, it is just a lot of interaction. So yeah, I'm playing these for some fusions, and then for the Super Poly targets, I'm playing Mud Dragon of the Swamp for like generic stuff, Garura for Yummy, Secretarian for Draco Tail. So the alternative to Secretarian Dragon is Chorozo. Chorozo is fine. Chorozo technically gives you more coverage in certain scenarios where you're trying to break a board. You go normal Anguish, and then your opponent interacts with your Anguish, and then you just slam down a Super Poly, and then you can fuse away any extra deck monster. But Secretarian is just a broken-ass card. Not only is it a Super Poly target, but you can just raw summon this in matchups where it matters. This hurts Branded, this hurts Draco Tail, this hurts Blue Eyes. It's just really good in a lot of different matchups. So yeah, those are basically it for the fusions. Yeah, that's all the fusions. For the Link monsters, we are obviously playing the SP Little Knight. But I am opting for some other links as well. I have IP Masquerena, Herald of Mirage Lights, and Gorgon of Zilophthonia. I am absolutely terrified of Mitsu. So I need some sort of answer to the Murakumo board wipe. Pure Mitsu isn't super high ceiling in order to be able to grind you out, but Mitsu Yummy absolutely will. If they, like, you know, sack the crap out of you and just have everything, they will break your board, and then although they can't kill you, they will deplete your resources, and you'll be in big trouble. So the way I deal with Murakumo is with this card, Gorgon of Zilophthonia. So essentially, if you summon this off of IP, wherever your opponent's monster is, you just kind of pick an extra monster zone that will cover that area, and then you are able to just negate it. Negating Murakumo is kind of crazy. This is also good against like Vanquished Soul. This came up against K9. This comes up in tons of different matchups. It's also Is You're Out to Liger Dancer, which is relevant. Lunalight is still around, and we kind of do struggle with that because we're playing Memento, so we don't have enough we don't have that much flexibility in terms of like what we play in our non-engine choices. So we just kind of have to ball and just hope we don't see stuff like Lunalight, hope we don't get hit with like Spell Canceller and stuff from Crystron, you know, just kind of have to dodge the bullets. That's just the nature of playing something that's not one of the top decks. Anyway, Herald of Mirage Lights is probably the one flex slot in this extra. This was going to be Dark the Dark Charmer for a little bit. Dark has decent utility because you can steal something like a Murakumo, and it's also just a guy that, because it's a Charmer, you know, it searches when it dies. In a lot of Memento grind game scenarios, you will be using your combined creation to attack over everything. So in those sorts of scenarios, you need to crash one of your Link monsters, and Dark is the optimal crash because it gets you to Anguish. But Herald of Mirage Lights, I think, is really good. Not only is, you know, Spell Negate's good against Mitsurugi, but Evenly Matched is seeing a lot more play now, and I want to have some sort of line of defense against Evenly. So that's what Mirage Lights is for. For the final Link monster I am playing is Artemis. Now, Artemis, for a little bit, was used for a proxy F Magician combo line, but I mean, that's cool and all, but I decided that I needed a different sort of combo line, so I decided to use this Artemis to make Cookie Yummy Way into Herald of the Arclight. So this is kind of a stupid combo line. You link the Anguish into Artemis, you sync off with Goblin or Mace to make Cookie Way, and then you sync the Cookie Way and Gaddock into Herald. This is for Draco Tail. Draco Tail is one of the few decks that can actually crack a Memento board, just because of none of their removal targets. So you can't dodge the targeted interaction because it's non-targeting interaction. And it forces out just a lot of your interactions very quickly, because you have to use both quick play spells or risk getting yourself boned by Urgula. So yeah, also the pops are not amazing. Also, you know, Flame. There's a lot of issues with the Draco Tail matchup, right? So we want to be able to shut them down with Herald of the Arclight. And for the last slot in the extra deck, I am playing Ripper. So Ripper, I think, is pretty interesting. It can be kind of awkward to make because 2 5s, although you do have 2 5s in Akihiran and Tatsu, you kind of want the Akihiran in the graveyard all the time, and Tatsu is like one of the ones you'd want to be shuffling back. So you do have to get names kind of stuck under the Ripper in order to make this. But the whole idea with Ripper is that because we are going for IP Masquerena lines, we can't always end on SP. So because we can't always end on SP, we need some sort of answer to Nibiru, and Ripper is that answer to Nibiru. It was suggested to play Chronomaly Vimana instead, because it's a generic monster negate instead of just a hand monster negate. But Ripper not only deals with Nibiru, but because it detaches 1 instead of 2, it can stick around to deal with things like Femena or Habakiri. Yeah. So moving on to the side deck here. I am playing more hand traps in the side deck. Molcharmies are playable going first, but in most matchups they're not, so we need stuff to put in going first. These are the best hand traps for going first. We have Ash Blossom and Droll. Droll is to beat the Molcharmies, and so is Ash. Just generally good going first hand traps, although you may be tempted to put in Ash going second in a lot of matchups. I promise, it is not that great. Like, obviously you can Ash a lot of decks, but it's not going to do enough against, like, Yummy, for example. Ashing Yummy doesn't do squat, right? So you don't want to put this in going second, which is why we're not maining it. Something like Droll obviously does not do enough against pure Yummy to justify maining it. We need super high impact cards, and these are not that high impacts unless you're going first. So, yeah, that's why we're playing these. So, speaking of going first cards, I am playing Solemn Judgment, and there can be only one. So Solemn Judgment is just, you know, broken side deck card, go burr. Good for going first. Droplet and Super Poly are playable sets going first, but you don't want to set them in every matchup because they're not super high impact in every matchup. I mean, they're pretty good, but like you have a full board, so you'd rather have powerful sets like these. The reason I am playing Tikaboo over one of the searchable Memento traps is that Tikaboo is obviously a lot higher impact. Something like Cranium Burst is not good this format. Cranium Burst has been in and out of my side deck, mostly out. If the metagame was dominated by, like, K9, then feel free to play Cranium Burst, but Mitsurugi doesn't care about Cranium Burst. Dracotail does not care about Cranium Burst. It's just not great in most matchups, so that's why I'm not playing it. There can be only one. It's just a lot stronger because it wins games. So for some going second cards, I am playing 3 copies of Molcharmy Meows. This is for yummy variants, all sorts of yummy variants. It's just really good. You can Meows your opponent on your own turn, which is kind of saucy. They'll try to like combo on your turn, but then you keep getting draws, which is cool. This works a lot better in other decks that don't instantly lose to Herald of the Arclight, because you kind of need to see the out to Heralds as soon as possible. You can punch over it with something like a Dark Blade, but your yummy opponent will be able to protect it using something like Cookie Yummy Way or Linkuriboh if they have that. So, yeah. Yells is still obviously really good against Yummy because they summon from the graveyard constantly. For some backer removal, I am playing 3 copies of Evenly Matched and Harpy's Feather Duster. So, Evenly is mostly for Dracotail, but it's decent against K9 and all sorts of K9 variants. And Duster is just good backer removal. I am not about that double Cyclone Hype Train. I think that card is mid, so I would not recommend that. These are super high impact. These break boards like crazy, and you can try to grind out a Dracotail player just by dropping Evenly and then going into main phase 2 and doing your combo. So yeah, that is everything I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe to the channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh content. Have a great day.